In this video, we're going to move on. So we've set up our shark to eat and we've set up our score. So how do we score now? So let's have a look what we can do. We can then show this one that when and we need to go to shark again because that's what we're working on. No, actually, sorry, it's the yellowfish. So let's go to our yellowfish. What we're going to do now is we're going to add some code in here. So I'm just going to pull this out for the moment. And in forever, we're going to put an if statement. And it's going to be if this is touching the shark. So we go back to sensing. And if the yellowfish is touching the shark, what do we do? Well, first of all, we're going to wait. Now we don't want to wait too long, so I'd say 0.2 seconds. Pretty quick response actually. The next thing is play the sound pop. So here's our sounds, but at the moment we don't have any sounds, so we need to go and find a sound. So we can click this here, choose a sound. If we do a search for pop, we can see that we don't want to squish pop, we just want to pop. So we put our pop, there's our pop sound. That's what it looks like acoustically. So let's go back to our code. After our 0.2 seconds, we want it to do something. So let's go to sound and we want to play sound until done. In other words, until the sound is finished. And the sound we can choose is here is pop, which we've chosen. Now, we also then, if we've eaten a fish, need to change the score. So we go back to variables, which is one of our variables. We want to change our score by 1. In other words, we've eaten a fish. And then what we want to do is we want to hide. So we go to look, and we go down here to hide. I think it's a bit further down. And there's our hide. And that goes in there. Now, one thing I missed actually is I've got to show it to start. So I'm going to push show in here. Show means it appears on the stage, hide means it doesn't appear. Then we have to add this stuff that we had before after the if statement. Now, if we have a look at what we're going to do, let's stop the game and start it again. Let's put our mouth, now watch as the shark comes to the yellow, opens its mouth and it's gone. And look, our score's gone up by 1. So that's how to set up the eating and the shark eating it and getting a score of 1. The next thing we want to do is to have the yellow fish move more randomly around the screen. So we can do that by doing a number of things, and we can we can use both the wait, so how long it takes to move, and then where it might end up on the screen. And that means it could turn all around the place. So let's have a look at how we do that. First of all is we're going to go to control and wait. Actually, the first thing we need to do is to pull that out there. So we're going to add some stuff to it. And the first thing we need to do is to hide. And sorry, that's the looks. So if we have a look at that, we're going to add hide on the start. So you can't see what's happening at the moment. Then it says control, we want to wait. and we want to wait a random number of seconds. So it's operators, and we want to pick a random number of seconds, and that's going to be 1 to 5 seconds. Then we'll put an if statement, and that will determine where it starts from the random number of the random numbers that are generated in the if statement. So if we have a look at if, we want an if and an else because we want two possibilities. Then for this one, we want to check whether we've got a random number of 1 or 2. And if it's 1, it does something. Otherwise, if it's 2, it does something else. So let's get our operators, and we want the equals. Here we go. Now, that doesn't look like much yet, but it will once we get the rest in. So we look now at operators and pick random. Now, we're going to pick random 1 to 2, and then we're going to determine whether that equals 1. So from our random numbers, 1 or 2, if it's 1. So if it is, whoop, what have we lost? There we go, we need the whole lot. If it's 1 out of the random of 1 or 2, a bit like flipping a coin, heads or tails, then we need to set X, which will be in our movement, and we can set X. Now X is the position across here, Y is the position on here, just like a Cartesian axis that you might have used in mathematics. And our X is negative 240. And then we want it to point in the direction of 90 degrees. Oh, didn't quite get there. Now, if it doesn't equal 1, if it equals 2 instead, then we want to set X to 240. And we want to point in the direction of negative 90 degrees. In other words, it's facing the other way. So negative 90. And that means it'll point in the direction in which it's heading. Okay, so that's that bit there. Now the next bit we need to add. Is in the bottom, and it's our setting Y. Where's our Y? Set Y. Oop, it's there. And it's going to be another random number, and we're going to have negative 180 to positive 180. Okay, we've now able to join this up with that. So you can see it's becoming a bit of a complex program here. Now, we also need to add something on the other end. Again, it's going to be that random bit of code. And in fact, it's going to be the same as the code that is in the top. So if we move up here, the easiest way to do it is to click on show and just drag that down a bit. So we've actually broken the code here. Now we want to actually copy this bit of code here and put it down further. So what we can do is we can right click on that and go duplicate. There's our duplicate set of code. Just leave that there for the minute. I know it looks messy, but that's all right, because then what we can do here now is we can get this bit of code, and we need to squeeze it in under hide. So you can see now we've actually put it into here. We'll just get rid of that. Now we can join up our show. So here we have, sorry, there's bits of code there I'll get rid of. You can see here that now we've added all that random code to our yellow fish. So let's make sure our yellow fish can be seen. Let's just do this and see what happens. Yeah, there it is. Yellow fish has appeared and it's just wandering around, and it should bounce off. There it is, it's going backwards. We're going to eat it. And it's gone. And we should have heard a pop. I didn't quite get that. All right, let's turn that off. So we've got it so that the fish is now randomly moving around the screen. All right, in the next video, we'll show how to actually get more fish on the screen, and then the red fish that will kill the game.